this is just a quick video on basic structure and mentality in this game. So one thing I want you guys to think about is when you do all this, right, you are putting your opponent in block stun, right? Pressure is keeping your opponent in block stun, or the threat of keeping them in block stun. You know what I'm trying to say, right? Dashing like this after doing things like that, that's a threat, right? You're not doing anything, but you're threatening them. And when you do things like this, your opponent might start thinking in their brain, alright, I need to mash, right? They keep doing things like this, I need to mash, right? When you do this, that's what you need to think about. I want them to mash. You're trying to interact with their inputs. So you're not just doing this aimlessly. Oh, this looks cool, I saw someone do it. Like, why are they doing it? The reason why they might be doing it is they want to elicit a response. The response is mash. Right? Now, we need to look at things in terms of risk and reward also with our offensive structures. So if we do something like this, right, there's not much risk. Literally just doing 5L, 2L, dash block. Right? We block if they try to take their turn back. If they try and reflect, you can see we can punish it. For a big reward, right, we get a medium starter. So you can see this offensive structure has a low risk because at worst we lose our turn back, right? But a high reward depending on what our opponent does and their inputs. So if they do a reflect, we can punish it. If they do a DP, we can punish it. If they jab, if they do their light attack, we're gonna block it because of the dash block. So this is a very, very strong offensive structure, right? An offensive sequence that we structured in this way to minimize the amount of risk that we're taking, but we can maximize it based on our opponent's inputs. So if we look at the current situation, we've baited Vegeta with the reflect, we punished him, current health right now, no recoverable health, so they're less likely to use the spark. The situation is they want Vegeta out of there, right? They want to bring in a character with more health and they want Vegeta out. So the only way for them to guard cancel is if you are in block stun. You cannot guard cancel if you are not in block stun. That's the whole point. You are cancelling your guard. You're guarding when you're in block stun. So what we can do here to kind of like take the piss of it is that we can always just leave a gap. So we're not always putting Vegeta in block stun. And if he is in block stun, we're going to make sure it's safe so we can punish the guard cancel. Alright? If we're just doing any random stuff like this, you know, we're just going to get punished. Right? The guard cancel won't be effective. But if we're just leaving gaps, like we know they want to do the guard cancel. They know they want to do the guard cancel. Alright? But because we're just leaving gaps, we're spacing ourselves, you know, whatever it is that we're doing, he can't just activate the guard cancel like that. And if he does, he knows he's going to be punished because we're not taking risks by using normals that won't be able to recover in time for the guard cancel. So when we do decide to finally commit to a string, and then they explode. If we're just doing things on autopilot, we're not thinking, this is where our pressure gets ineffective. We're not able to, you know, reliably condition our opponent and punish them. But if we're thinking about it, looking at the current situation for what it is and what inputs we're trying to interact with the opponent, we can make better educated guesses and punish them just like he did. So if we look at our character's tools, we'll think about what they can do to achieve our goals. So plus on block move. Why are we using this move? What are we trying to do? Doesn't do much chip. You can't really die off chip in this game. So it doesn't achieve that fact. You could have said that if it does a lot of chip damage like this, or a decent amount, right? And this was a game that you could kill somebody off chip. That is what you'd be using this move for, to chip them out, right? Since you can't do that in this game, we are using this move to keep them still, right? To keep them honest. Where plus, we don't want them to mash. If they mash here, we're only going to benefit. So this is like stay still, do you know what I mean? If we use this, our command grab, it's not just because we want to grab them. After we force them to stay still, right? We use these to check. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you going to reflect? Are you going to mash? Because if you mash, I'm going to dash block it. I'm going to block it like I showed at the beginning. If you reflect, I'm going to punish you, right? If you do a DP, the dash block baits the DP. That's why sequences like this, we just use them to check. It's like you're checking the temperature. Or you're doing nothing, alright, cool, I hit you with this. Or you're still doing nothing, alright, cool. You do this, right? Because it's an unblockable. If you're blocking, you're getting hit with a command grab. It's simple as that. You can't block a command grab. But we've tested them. We've used our offensive sequences to see what our opponent likes to do, right? And you're trying to mitigate the amount of risk that you want to take. Certain things like this, right? If you can get away with this, it's telling you a lot of stuff. Number one, you've conditioned your opponent, right? You've conditioned your opponent to stay still no matter what you're doing at this point. You know what I mean? What's the risk? Right? You're gonna get punished. Do you know what I'm saying? There's no real risk with that. Do you know what I mean? We're applying pressure. If she does nothing, we can just continue. If she does something, we just block it, right? We punish if she reflects, just of that simple sequence. You know what I'm trying to say? However, with this, we can't block it. The only benefit is, the only reward we're getting here is the level up. If we're lucky, if we condition them to the point that no matter what we're doing now, they're just reflecting, then we can get away with this. But you can see the sequence isn't really as foolproof as we'd like it to be. Right? That's extremely lucky. You know what I mean? You're hardly going to get scenarios like that unless you've really conditioned them to reflect. That no matter what you're doing to them, when they're in block stun, they are mashing out reflect and you can get away with things like that. Do you know what I mean? But you need to look at your character's tools. You need to manipulate your opponent based on the inputs that you think they're going to do and try and condition them to do certain inputs. Do you know what I mean? Try and condition them in a way that you make them want to mash. So when they mash, right? Let's say you do something like this. You're blocking them like that. So they think they're going to do it the next time. And then you delay your button to punish them, right? When they think you're going to do one thing, you do something else. Do you know what I mean? You need to change up the options that you have. So you have to look at your character's toolkit and think, how can I use this to interfere with my opponent's inputs? And then devise a plan based on that and exploit it. So what I would advise is just look at it from a basic standpoint first and then make it more and more complex with your assist and all these different things afterwards. So just simple stuff like this. You might be wondering, why would you back off? Remember, pressure is keeping your opponent in block stun or the threat of keeping them in block stun. Alright, so they press something now, we punish them because he's got a good normal from here. We can still threaten to put him into block stun from here. You know what I'm saying? But we just wanted to see, we're trying to interact with a mash here. That's the input we're looking for, right? We can punish him if he does something like this. Right? Super dash as well, because of the distance. We're thinking, how is he going to close the distance? What's he going to do? Right, he's not going to 2M because we can punish a 2M from here. You know what I mean? So what's the fastest way for him to get to us like that? Probably going to be a super dash. And that simple sequence covers that as well. So we know it covers mash, it covers super dash. What else? Do you know what I mean? We don't have to do anything either because of the distance that we're at. So let's just say we've hit them with this a couple times now. That's when you see people start to do stuff like that. Because if we interact with it, we're going to get hit. Right? It works, but we don't have to. Remember, it's the threat. They're doing the DP of the threat of us putting them back into block stun. So sometimes just being in certain spaces is all you have to do. Gogeta's threatening him from here. He's not even doing anything. And that's why you get situations like this happening. So you just want to think about the sequences that you're doing. That's it for the video, guys. Just wanted to make a quick overview on offensive structure and mentality for Dragon Ball FighterZ, and just a basic way to think about interacting with your opponent's inputs. If you like it, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.